Support for our podcast comes from Symphony 3, which has announced exciting news. It's launched its innovative Smart Glue platform on the AWS marketplace. That makes the secure and affordable integration solution accessible to government agencies worldwide. The platform includes over 50 pre-built connectors specifically designed for public sector systems, government APIs, enterprise solutions and AWS services to transform citizen experiences by breaking down data silos. Smart Glue delivers operational excellence for local governments through cost reduction, process optimization, improved decision-making and scalable architecture, all while maintaining comprehensive security and compliance standards required by public sector organisations. Get in touch to see how Symphony 3's expanded team and solutions can support your goals. Head to symphony3.com to find out more. Baw Baw Shire appoints a new CEO. A surprise councillor resignation on the Surf Coast. Operation Sandon finally reaches a courtroom. CEO appointment news from New South Wales. A controversial fluoride decision in Queensland. A South Australian mayor resigns after months of turmoil. A Tasmanian councillor suspended for code of conduct breaches. And tensions flare in Perth's Lord Mayoral contest. All of that and more ahead on the Local Government News Roundup. Hello, I'm Chris Eddy. Welcome along to Australia's #1 podcast for local government news and interviews. Also today, European cities under pressure from overtourism and provincial intervention raises concerns in Canada. Our podcast is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, with support from Symphony 3, their Smart Glue platform now available worldwide on the AWS marketplace. Good to have you with us for our Friday edition. It's the 26th of September and this is episode number 496 of the Roundup. The new permanent CEO of Baw Baw Shire Council has been revealed this week after 3 interim CEOs and some 10 months since Mark Dupay resigned the position in November last year. Tilla Buden, a senior executive with experience at Greater Dandenong, Yarra Ranges and Bayside councils, will take up the role on the 17th of November. Ms Buden is currently the Director of Community and Customer Experience at Bayside, a role she's held since August 2022. Mayor Danny Goss said Tilla's leadership skills, strategic vision and genuine commitment to community will be invaluable in helping shape a strong and vibrant future for Baw Baw. He also thanked John Benny for his support and dedication as interim CEO since March this year. Martin Hopley and Cohen Vandervelde also spent time in the interim role after Mr Dupay's departure late last year. Surf Coast Shire Councillor Rebecca Burke has resigned effective immediately. Council CEO Robin Seymour issued a statement yesterday afternoon announcing the resignation and advising that the VEC will conduct a countback process from the 2024 local government election to determine a new councillor for the Torquay ward. Mayor Mike Bodsworth thanked Ms Burke for her work as a councillor and acknowledged her commitment to improved health and well-being outcomes for young people during her time on the council. And staying with Surf Coast, the council has reaffirmed its position not to participate in Australia Day celebrations on January 26th, a stance it has maintained since 2021. The council will continue to fly Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flags at half-mast on the day. Mayor Mike Bodsworth said the decision reflects the council's view that supporting celebrations on a day of sadness for First Nations people is inconsistent with their commitment to reconciliation. The council made the decision after receiving a report on the impacts to the First Nations community and considering both positive and negative outcomes of reinstating Australia Day celebrations. While acknowledging differing views in the community, Mayor Bodsworth emphasised that the council is not preventing other organisations or individuals from holding their own Australia Day events. Additionally, the council has resolved to advocate to the federal government for changing the date of Australia Day to the last weekend in January. Well, Operation Sandon has finally reached a courtroom this week with the former City of Casey Mayor Sam Aziz and property developer John Woodman at the centre of allegations involving $1.2 million in alleged corrupt payments. Nine News reported that the pair faced Melbourne Magistrates Court yesterday via video link on charges that come 7 years after IBAC began its investigations. Aziz faces 5 charges, including receiving secret commissions and misconduct in public office, while Woodman is charged with giving secret commissions. The investigation led to the entire Casey Council being dismissed by State Parliament in February of 2020. The two men are scheduled to reappear in court on the 2nd of February for a committal mention. Ballarat City Council is fighting to protect a crucial freight rail connection to Melbourne's port that's threatened by the Sunshine Super Hub development. There are fears that the removal of the Sunshine Rail crossover would force costly detours via Geelong. The council is advocating for a new short rail link between Brooklyn and Tottenham to safeguard the viability of the $42.2 million Ballarat West Employment Zone intermodal freight hub, which is scheduled to open in 2027. Kingston City Council has been forced to reissue more than 3,000 rates notices after undercharging property owners, according to a report from the Frankston Times. The problem has arisen due to a miscalculation of the new State Government Emergency Services and Volunteers Fund. The error primarily affects commercial, industrial, vacant land and primary production properties. The council says it's working with affected ratepayers on payment arrangements due to the delay. Mansfield Shire Council has rung alarm bells about secretive planning reforms proposed by the Victorian Government, which it fears could significantly reduce local community input on development decisions. Mayor Steve Raby is concerned that there's been no consultation with local councils and about an inability to access information about the changes, which are scheduled for October. The council wants community members to contact their local MPs if they're concerned about losing their voice through the reforms that it says may permanently damage council's ability to plan for specific community needs. The lifting of travel warnings in parts of northeast Victoria affected by the recent police shootings at Porpunka has been welcomed by local leaders. But Indigo Shire Mayor Sophie Price says it will take more for the region to return to normal as the search for the alleged shooter is ongoing.
But obviously it's a confidence thing now for people to travel to those areas. It just in my own individual instance, my daughter was supposed to go to school camp out there. That has been postponed and they're not sure that they'll have the confidence until there's been some sort of resolution with this situation. So that's our role now, to say for our local communities, get in there and support our neighbours because they're hurting, but they still have the beautiful product. It's a great time of year to be up there. It is really safe. It is absolutely safe to go up there and visit, and they welcome all of that visitation, and so we're trying to do our part there.
The state government's put some money out there to try and encourage people back and to support businesses that have been impacted. I know you welcomed that. Does it go far enough in your view?
No, it really doesn't, and that's why we're looking to the federal government for that declaration, because we think that that is a more appropriate declaration to be made. It obviously then triggers a whole raft of funding. So we really welcome that from the state government. But this, as long as this goes on for, the impact is going to be more severe and more widespread. Councillor Price will join me on this week's episode of VLGA Connect and will provide an update on the fight for better hospital and health services across the region. The Albury-Wodonga Regional Health Alliance continues to meet monthly and continue to plan various activities. Indigo Shire is in the process of planning a hospital rally. We've seen those at Wodonga, Albury, Corryong, Corowa, and now we think it's our turn, and I know that Alpine Shire is certainly considering it for them as well. Catch the full interview with Sophie Price, the Mayor of Indigo Shire, as well as an update from Tony Ranick of Hunt & Hunt Lawyers on legal and governance issues on VLGA Connect. New episode coming away later today on YouTube and podcast. More Victorian Council news in brief. Moyne Shire has formally objected to a proposed Swanson Lane wind farm due to concerns about its proximity to Garvick Township, impacts on productive dairy land, inadequate community engagement and incomplete technical assessments. The council, along with Corangamite Shire, has called for stronger standards and clearer policy direction for renewable energy projects in that part of the state. Murrindindi Shire is serving as host for the Goulburn Murray Climate Alliance, which has launched a new 4-year partnership
bringing together 15 councils and agencies to deliver joint climate action projects with proven cost-effectiveness. The collaboration has already delivered significant value, enabling the council to switch to 100% zero-carbon electricity with annual savings of $12,000. And voting closes next Friday in the by-election for Lake Hume Ward in Wodonga City Council. Voters have until 6 p.m. to get their completed ballot packs in the mail or risk a fine. In news out of New South Wales now, and experienced senior executive Terry Dodds, PSM, is returning to regional New South Wales to take up the top job at Baw Shire Council. Mr Dodds recently announced his decision to leave the CEO position at Livingstone Shire Council in Queensland after less than 12 months. He previously spent more than 3 years each at Murray River Shire and Tenterfield Shire Councils as CEO. Balranald Mayor Louis Zafina announced Mr Dodds' appointment this week, citing his track record of shaping successful organisations by building a positive staff culture. He takes up his new role on the 27th of October. Wallandilly Shire Council CEO Ben Taylor will be with the council for another 5 years after leading the organisation to exceed key performance targets for the 24-25 financial year, the fifth year running. Mayor Matt Gould said that Mr Taylor had continued to show outstanding leadership during a time of significant growth for the Wallandilly Shire, and he has the support of the elected council to lead the organisation for another 5 years. Badalla Council has deferred consideration of changes to local pet laws that would limit the number of animals in certain circumstances following public outcry and 40 submissions against the proposed reforms. The council has emphasised the restrictions would apply only in cases of legitimate issues such as noise disturbances or animal welfare concerns, not as general limitations on pet ownership. Power FM reported that the deferral has been blamed on media pot stirring, inciting social media hype. Lake Macquarie City Council has voted against a proposal to shift the bulk of Australia Day celebrations to the 26th of January. The Newcastle Herald reported that the council has opted to maintain its current 4-day Lake Mac Festival scheduled around the holiday weekend. Councillor Anthony Swinsberg brought the motion, arguing unsuccessfully for more emphasis on national celebrations on Australia Day itself. More deputy mayoral elections to fill you in on. The councillors at the City of Wagga have re-elected Councillor Georgie Davies as deputy mayor for the next 12 months. Last year, the council resolved to shorten the term of the deputy to a 1-year term. Councillor Marianne Barigi has been chosen by North Sydney Council to be deputy mayor for 12 months. The 13-year council veteran has been deputy mayor for 1 term previously. Blacktown City Council has elected Carol Israel as its new deputy, succeeding Bob Fitzgerald, who held the role for the past year. Councillor Peter Wilkins has been elected deputy and Councillor Selina Clancy appointed as assistant deputy mayor at Shoalhaven City Council. It's a re-election to the position for Councillor Wilkins. Greens Councillor Claire Willington has been elected as Randwick Council's new deputy, replacing Maria Wilson for a 12-month period, and Councillor Betty Green has been elected deputy mayor of Liverpool City Council for a 12-month term. Shell Harbour Council is taking the next steps towards a 2-year trial of mobile tiny homes, aiming to give locals more affordable rental options. The small movable dwellings are built on trailers and can be registered like a vehicle under the Road Transport Act. To allow the trial to proceed, the council will prepare a planning proposal to change the Shell Harbour Local Environmental Plan of 2013. More New South Wales Council news in brief. Gunnedah Shire has resolved to write to the Premier's Department requesting a rural and regional summit in Gunnedah to include the themes of health, roads, crime and disaster preparedness. The council will also allocate a budget of $10,000 to cover the scoping of any expenses associated with facilitating the summit should the request be granted. And the former Mayor of Gunnedah Shire, Jamie Chaffey, has been awarded the Emeritus Mayor Service Award by LG New South Wales. in recognition of his 8 years of service from 2016 to 2024. The Gunnedah Times reported that current Mayor Colleen Fuller presented the award at a recent citizenship ceremony. And Lane Cove Council has resolved to become a supporter council of the Mayoral and Councillor Task Force supporting people seeking asylum. The task force coordinates the Back Your Neighbour campaign, a coalition of more than 40 local governments supported by community organisations and individuals advocating for fairness and basic support for people seeking asylum. You're listening to the Local Government News Roundup for Friday the 26th of September, brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, which is sending out its councillor census to every councillor in Victoria on the 6th of October. Look out for that. And we received support from Symphony 3 with their Smart Glue platform making waves worldwide now. It's available on the AWS Marketplace, which is big news for Symphony 3. Thank you to them for their support for the Roundup. Some news out of Queensland. Mount Isa residents will soon be rewarded for helping control the region's feral animal population, with the City Council voting this week to introduce a bounty program. Under the 12-month trial, residents can claim $25 for each feral cat and $50 for each wild dog captured within the Mount Isa local government area. The decision comes after an increase in feral animal sightings across the northwest region this year. The program aligns with similar successful initiatives in neighbouring shires, including Cloncurry, Etheridge and Boulia. Gympie Regional Council has made the controversial decision to remove flouride from its water supply, becoming the second Queensland region to do so in less than a year. ABC News reported that the council voted 5-3 to end water fluoridation after 15 years, with Mayor Glenn Hartwig citing annual savings of $250,000 for ratepayers. The decision has sparked strong reactions from health experts, with University of Queensland dental specialist Michael Foley calling water fluoridation one of the no-brainers in public health. He's warned that regional Queenslanders already suffer from the poorest dental health in Australia and that this decision could worsen that situation. State opposition leader Stephen Miles has blamed Premier David Crisafulli, who was local government minister when the decision-making power was handed to councils in 2012. He's urged the council to reconsider its decision. To Tasmania, and a councillor at Glamorgan Spring Bay Council has been suspended for 7 days after a Code of Conduct investigation. The Local Government Code of Conduct panel determined that Councillor Michael Simons had breached parts of the code, but dismissed one part of the complaint that was brought by Councillor Carol McQueenie. The complaint included allegations that Councillor Simons had breached the code by taking employment with an organisation contracted to the council and failed to inform the council of this, failed to declare a pecuniary interest and brought the council and the office of councillor into disrepute. The panel imposed sanctions including a formal reprimand, a requirement to attend training with an appropriate training provider, and suspension of 7 days from the tabling of the decision this week. It's the second suspension of a Glamorgan Spring Bay councillor this year, after its Mayor Cheryl Arnold was suspended for 1 month and required to undergo training in relation to a workers' compensation claim from the council's general manager. Northern Midlands Council has officially endorsed the Lift the Tone campaign to combat abuse and intimidation experienced by local government representatives. Nearly 80% of elected officials have reported incidents in the past 2 years in Tasmania. The council has committed to several supportive actions, including public endorsement, education initiatives, mental health support, and policy reinforcement to foster respectful public discourse within the community. In South Australia, Jan Claire Wisdom has stepped down as Mayor of Adelaide Hills Council amid ongoing controversy. Ms Wisdom, who had been Mayor since 2018, resigned late on Wednesday afternoon before the council's scheduled ordinary meeting. The resignation follows months of turbulence at the council, with 3 councillors having already quit in May this year and Safe Work South Australia investigating claims of a psychological nature. Mayor Wisdom had been on leave for 9 months since a council vote to force her resignation and apologise after an investigation into alleged breaches of standards. A supplementary election for the position of mayor will be organised with the South Australian Electoral Commission. Those 3 councillor vacancies are being filled this week, and we'll have those results for you in our next episode. At Adelaide City Council, 2 Deputy Lord Mayors have been elected to serve out the remainder of the term, according to Adelaide Now. Councillor Kieran Snape will take on the deputy role until the 31st of December, despite opposition from some councillors and concerns raised by the Lord Mayor about using the position for political purposes. Councillor Snape is running as an independent for the state seat of Adelaide in next year's election, and he's denied any inappropriate use of council resources. Councillor Carmel Noon was nominated by Councillor Snape to serve as Deputy Lord Mayor from January until the end of the council's term in November next year. The vote proceeded despite Lord Mayor Lomax Smith's absence and some councillors calling the move a break from tradition. The leadership shuffle comes after 4 councillors, including the previous deputy, were removed following a district court judgment on illegal voting earlier this year. And to Western Australia, where tensions have flared at an East Perth Meet the Candidate event for the upcoming City of Perth council elections, where Lord Mayor candidate Victor Coe has defended questions about his attendance record, according to Perth Now. When challenged by a resident about being missing for 5 months, Coe strongly rejected the claim, stating he'd missed only 1 ordinary council meeting this year. The candidate works as a doctor at Royal Perth Hospital and explained that his absences were related to his medical duties, caring for his 4-month-old child and personal circumstances. The heated exchange has sparked debate among other candidates about respect in the campaign process, with Deputy Lord Mayor Bruce Reynolds reminding everyone that kindness goes a long way. There are 6 candidates running for Lord Mayor at the October 18 elections. And West Arnhem Regional Council has elected James Woods as Mayor and Jacqueline Phillips as Deputy Mayor during the first meeting of the newly elected council this week. The council also welcomed 9 elected members across 5 wards who will guide the region for the next 4 years, with 2 vacant positions to be filled through upcoming supplementary elections. Wrapping up the week now with our global roundup, and we're going to the Netherlands firstly, where residents in Amsterdam have launched legal action against the City Council, wanting it to do more to combat over-tourism, according to Euronews. While the city has been trying to steer tourists away from pub crawls and sex tourism, the legal action contends that the current tourism management is ineffective. The number of overnight stays last year was nearly 23 million, despite a city bylaw of 2021 capping that number at 20 million. Meanwhile, Amsterdam City Council has voted to ban sports teams from Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank from entering the city. The ban also extends to fans accused of supporting what the council describes as racist and extremist views, according to a report from newsarab.com. The decision specifically affects Israeli football club Maccabi Tel Aviv, following violent clashes in Amsterdam last November when the club's supporters were accused of chanting anti-Arab slogans. In Scotland, Argyll and Bute has become the 5th council to put the brakes on plans for a controversial tourist tax on overnight stays, according to BBC News. Councillors voted to delay the introduction of a proposed 5% levy after a public consultation showed significant opposition, with 57% of respondents expressing concerns about potential negative impacts on the local economy. The decision was welcomed by business groups, praising the council for listening to local concerns. Argyll and Bute joins Shetland, Orkney, the Western Isles and South Ayrshire in pausing implementation of the levy, which was made possible by legislation passed last year. Meanwhile, Aberdeen, Edinburgh and Glasgow have all approved similar charges on overnight stays, with Aberdeen setting the highest rate at 7%. In England, Sheffield City Council has reached a landmark £36 million settlement to address historical equal pay issues. The Local Government Chronicle reported that more than 3,600 employees across 260 different roles will receive one-off payments following a comprehensive review conducted with Unison, GMB and Unite trade unions. The settlement comes after claims last autumn that the Council's job evaluation scheme discriminated against female-dominated roles, such as cleaning and caring positions. The Council will fund the settlement from its reserves, ensuring no direct impact on residents' council tax. Officials confirmed the city is not at risk of issuing a Section 114 notice. A meeting of Norman City Council in Oklahoma in the US took a dramatic turn this week when Representative Bree Montoya announced her immediate resignation. KOCO5 News reported the decision came in the wake of controversial social media comments where Montoya reportedly suggested another person end their life during a heated political exchange several months ago. Montoya made a brief resignation statement and left the council chambers immediately after. Prior to her resignation, she had issued a public apology on social media, calling her comments awful, inappropriate and unacceptable, and explaining that the exchange got way out of hand during a moment of personal distress. City officials have confirmed that Montoya's resignation was voluntary, noting that as an elected official, she's protected by First Amendment rights that prevent the city from taking disciplinary action. And to finish, a couple of stories out of Canada, where Ontario Premier Doug Ford has announced that his government will introduce legislation next month to ban speed cameras across the province, according to CTV News. Mr Ford called the cameras a cash grab by municipalities and said, quote, "Enough is enough." The ban would remove more than 700 speed cameras currently operating in 40 municipalities. In their place, the province plans to establish a new fund to help cities implement alternative safety measures like speed bumps and raised crosswalks. Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow immediately pushed back against the decision, saying it would make roads less safe. The move represents a complete reversal from Mr Ford's own 2019 law that first allowed municipalities to install the cameras. And Alberta Premier Danielle Smith has directed Municipal Affairs Minister Dan Williams to conduct a comprehensive review of what elected municipal officials are paid across the province. Global News reported the review aims to ensure taxpayer dollars are being respected, according to a newly published mandate letter. The minister has also been tasked with finding ways to limit annual property tax increases and counteract special taxes on second homes that some municipalities have implemented. The move has drawn criticism from municipal leaders, with the Alberta Municipalities Group questioning the province's intentions and suggesting the review should extend to provincial officials as well. And that's the latest from the Local Government News Roundup. This edition, number 496, was recorded on Friday the 26th of September 2025. You can find out more information about the episode, including links to the stories we've referenced, at lgnewsroundup.com. The podcast is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, with support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences. The Local Government News Roundup is recorded in the city of Greater Geelong, Victoria, on the land of the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation. We come your way every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Until next time, thanks for listening and bye for now. The VLGA's Victorian Councillor Census is back again in 2025. All councillors in Victoria will be emailed the census on the 6th of October and will have until the end of the month to complete. In its second year, the annual census captures and tracks councillor demographics, attitudes and the key challenges to local governance over time. You don't need to be a VLGA member to participate, and at no stage will the VLGA have access to an individual's responses. The findings of the census will inform, influence and lead conversations across local government and with other tiers of government, and all responses will be fully confidential. This is your chance to have your voice heard as a councillor. The Councillor Census is part of the VLGA's commitment to support councillors on their journey to be successful community representatives.